What's going on YouTube? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I'm here with my buddy Francesco.
Hey, nice to see everyone. I've known Elijah for basically forever, since we were about 8 years old, and
It was a long time ago.
yeah, a long time now. Lifelong friendship, and so I am an office person by day and also a writer, and I just got my first short story out in Dragons and Heroes.
Go check that out in the description. He's a really awesome writer, and yeah, we actually had Francesco on the channel, it was about a year ago, I'd say. We just basically rated a bunch of cheap and expensive fragrances. Your level in fragrance, for those who haven't seen that video, where would you be?
Pretty much as beginner as you can get. Like, I wear cologne sometimes, but I haven't gone fully into delving beneath the surface, I guess.
So you don't stay up until like 3 a.m. checking Fragrantica, going down all these rabbit holes and just like researching all these crazy aroma chemicals?
Exactly, yeah. I'm like, if someone gives me a cologne and it smells good, I'll wear it, but that's about it.
Honestly, that's a lot of people as well. Today, we're going to basically be looking at 10 fragrances that are affordable. So these are gonna be under 50 bucks, and I know you moved out just now, so.
Yep. Yeah, I might actually have to go get some of these after.
Yeah, save you some money, smell good, and let's get into it. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining the channel. If you are new, consider leaving a like and even subscribing because it helps make videos like this possible. Our first fragrance is from Maison Alhambra, and I'll let you give this one a sniff.
All right.
This one is called Crafted Oud, and this is under their Zaffiro collection. So in terms of the stuff that you like to wear, what do you kind of enjoy smelling? Are there any qualities that you like?
I mean, if you saw the last one, you'll know this is kind of like piney scents,
So like some woody stuff?
Yeah, this one's pretty good. It has like this kind of sharpness to it. I kind of prefer almost a more like smooth kind of smell, if that makes sense. Softer, but it's still pretty good. I do
So
like
here's
it.
the opening. That was actually the dry down, so it can change a little bit after it's been sitting a little bit. But yeah, this one, I feel like it could be the oud that you're smelling. It may be a little bit resinous, a little bit spicy, and I think there's also some cardamom in there that gives it a little bit of a sweet spiciness, almost like a cinnamon.
This one, when you first gave it to me, it's like, whoa, that almost came on a little bit too strong. I imagine someone who's a little bit, you know, more of a brighter, outgoing kind of personality. Maybe if you're at like just like a fun event or something, or just out in public.
And it's funny you mentioned that it smells a little bit sharp, because this is actually kind of a soft oud.
Really?
So compared to some of the ones coming up, it may be a little tame.
Yeah, I'd better watch out.
That's right. All right.
I could see some people, you know, maybe that's, you know, what they want. I do like the smell. If I were to rate it from 1 to 10, I think I'm landing on, for me personally, probably a 6.
6 for Maison Alhambra's Carved Oud. At number 2, we're looking at a Lattafa Pride fragrance. So this fragrance is called Eternal Oud, and while you're smelling that...
Okay, so it's definitely very woody. That much is, I mean, it's oud, so of course it is, but like it's very obvious with this one, even to a beginner such as myself.
Check out this bottle, how cool the detail is on that.
Ooh, yeah, I love that. I really like the artistry on the bottle. Like, I'm someone who can appreciate nature and trees, and yeah, I like this a lot. And you definitely get that impression with the smell. Like, the first thing I thought of was, you know, wood, trees.
This one's kind of cool because it does that really cool kind of woodiness in a really interesting way. I think in a previous video I described it as almost like a cinnamon roll mixed with like some woods.
Oh, definitely sweetness, yeah. I can totally see where the cinnamon roll is coming from now that you say that. Yeah, I really like this one a lot.
I feel like it's really good for like the colder weather, you know?
It's not too overbearing. And I like that about it. They can fit kind of a range of people. I'd say it's, you know, slightly more on the formal or like low-key side. Maybe for like a work party or something like that.
Maybe like dress up a little bit.
Yeah.
You can dress this up. A lot of people wear this like for a date night, so it's kind of sweet, cozy, you know?
Yeah.
You can get this one for like $40 or so.
Wow.
And this is from the Lattafa Pride line. It's usually about twice the price of their regular stuff, so they have a lot of like $20 fragrances, but if you step up to their Pride line and spend that like 35, 45 bucks, you get something that's way worth the price. And so
I want to give it probably 8 or 8.5.
You want to split the difference?
Sure.
8.25?
Yeah.
That one is Lattafa's Eternal Oud. Number 3, we have Lattafa Pride. So we have another Lattafa Pride fragrance. This one is Art of Arabia 1. So check this one out.
This one's different. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. Oh, wow. I don't know if it's just because I saw the design, but it definitely fits that sort of metallic imagery. If the last couple were more like nature and like out in the woods, this is definitely more you're like in the city. It's got like kind of a, like just kind of a metallic almost smell to it.
It's very similar to a Louis Vuitton fragrance called Imagination. And that one's a very citrus heavy, so it's a little bit zingy.
Okay, that's where that comes from. Yes, it's like smell is the hardest thing to describe by just like scent words, but now that you mentioned the citrus, it's like, okay, that's what it was. On this, more so than on that, I can definitely smell some of that citrus, and yeah, soapy is a good way of putting it too.
That's something that you kind of encounter a little bit. So sometimes when you first smell it off the bat, or you smell the little atomizer, it can smell a lot different than how it dries down.
Yeah, very different. I would say I prefer the dry down, honestly. I like that it brings out the kind of citrus undertones a little more. It's very unique, or at least compared to the other two that I just smelled. I would have thought that it would be more expensive.
Yeah, this one, because it's from their Pride line, it smells a lot more expensive than some of their cheap stuff. So to me, I probably wouldn't mind spending 5-10 times the price on this one. I think this one, well, maybe not 10.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, this one, I want to say you can get it for about $35 or $40, depending on where you pick it up. This one, I want to say it's like 14 plus hours.
Wow.
So it's super strong. And I remember when I first bought this one, I kept smelling it throughout the day and I was thinking, when is this gonna go away?
I think for me, since I do prefer like woodier scents, it's not gonna rate as highly.
Okay.
It is really good in its own right, but I think I would have to give it a 7.
Okay, a 7. If you love that Louis Vuitton Imagination, then I think you'll like this one. And that one is Lattafa Pride's Art of Arabia 1. All right, next up is one of my personal favorite bottles.
Okay. This one, I picture you're like at the beach or something. It's like a very airy, kind of aromatic scent.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. This one is actually from Emir, and this is their Velar series, A Chaos in the Ocean.
Oh, really? Okay, so that literally is the first thing I thought was that, okay, I'm at the beach.
Yeah, this one's got some really cool citrus notes up top, and it actually has some of the notes on here, but the cool thing is it has calione and hedione. So calione is a little bit of a marine-like kind of note, so it gives off that kind of quality. And I feel like you get a little sea salt with this.
Yes.
And then there's also some seaweed in here as well.
Really? Literally, it's like an oceanic scent in a good way, you know, not like the brine and like some of the stuff at the beach, but like the good part of it.
There are some of those. There are definitely some of those fragrances that make you smell a little bit seaweed-like.
Okay, well this is not that. It's, you know, kind of laid back, and it's just kind of a bright but like relaxing scent.
Yeah, ambergris. It's basically a material that whales will secrete, and so it's extremely hard to find and it's extremely expensive. Labs created a fragrance aroma chemical that's similar to that smell, but it's called ambroxan, and so it's a little bit metallic. It's definitely kind of marine-like. It smells like sea salt.
Yeah, I really like this one. I would have to rate it like a 7.75. Honestly, for season, I think definitely more like summer. I feel like it could be really used in a variety of situations though, like even just kind of casually, like around the house or whatever.
I like spraying this one before I go wash my car, run errands, especially like in the springtime or when it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah, I think that it would be perfect for that.
7.75 for Emir's A Chaos in the Ocean. So next up, this fragrance is from the house of Montblanc, and this one is Montblanc Explorer. So this one is a more designer approach to a very expensive fragrance called Creed Aventus. Have you heard of that one before?
I have not.
So that fragrance is kind of notorious. It's been a very coveted fragrance. So a lot of companies try to emulate it. And funny enough, I actually prefer this $40, $30 version a little bit more over
really?
that.
Ooh, okay. Now, see,
We got an ooh.
My raw impression is that it's a very sweet smell. I feel like it's got to have some kind of like citrus or like kind of fruity notes in it.
There's a very strong bergamot note, and so that's a little bit of like a citrusy kind of lemon. It's a little bit more juicy. So Creed Aventus, actually, I have a little decant up here.
I think I like the first one you showed me, the
Montblanc
Yeah.
Explorer. That opening is just really, really fascinating. And again, it's $40 versus like $300 for this one.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, especially considering the price, I think I like the Mont Blanc a lot better. For whatever reason, the citrus notes struck me more in it. That's kind of what I noticed first. I can detect, you know, some of the wood in there, but it was mostly the kind of sweeter citrusy scent that stuck out to me. So it is a really good one, but I think, again, for my like purely personal preferences, it's going to have to be probably a 7 again.
7.
But yeah, I like those kind of richer wood smells, I guess.
Okay, I feel like we definitely have some, and maybe the next one I think you might like a little bit more. This one I think you can get for like $30 to $40 for a full 100 ml size. So 7 for Mont Blanc Explorer. At the number 6 spot, we have probably one of the most affordable fragrances on this list.
Oh, I really like this one. This reminds me, I think it was the second one, the one that I gave the highest rating so far. This very much reminds me of that. This has some very rich, kind of earthy wood notes.
This one is definitely very wood heavy. So I think there's also some incense in this one. So it's gonna be a little bit smoky, very rich and kind of resinous. For some reason, when I smell this one, I kind of get, it's almost like a spruce, or like, it kind of reminds me of like a forest as you're walking through it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Or even like if you've ever been like camping or like to a campfire, it's kind of like that log cabin smell. I find it really comforting, and that's just an environment that I like, and so I like the fragrance as well.
Yeah, this one you can actually pick up at Marshall's, TJ Maxx, and they often have it for $15.
What? 15?
15 bucks.
Wow.
On my skin, I get about 8 or 9 hours on this one. Some people have said they even get like 12 hours. The funny thing about these is if you let them sit on your shelf or put them like in a closet for months at a time, they can actually change and age a little bit, and they can even last a little bit longer. So when I first reviewed this, I gave it a little bit of a harsh review, but since then it's smelled way better, and I feel like it's aged very nicely.
Yeah, I would agree. I would have to rate it probably, I think the highest of the night so far, I'm gonna have to say 8.5.
Okay, 8.5.
I think it's a little bit on the like more formal side. It's not too casual smelling, you know, it's one that you want to stand out. Like it's gonna attract attention, I think. I would say if you're at like a work kind of semi-formal work party or like work event, this is the one for that occasion.
And that one is an 8.5 for Milestone's Velvet Collection Black Insenso. I had to keep checking this. The names are so similar. Honestly, I just lose track every time.
It would be so easy to mix those up, yeah.
All right, next up is another really cool fragrance brand. This one is from the house of Zara.
Wow. Okay, this is a very different one for the night, but wow, I really like this actually.
Nice. I was hoping you'd like that one.
Yeah, I had seen the name of it earlier, and it's been intriguing me the whole night, and yeah, it lives up to the name.
Yeah, this one is called Zara's Sand Desert at Sunset.
Oh man, I don't know how to describe it, but that kind of captures the essence of it really, where yeah, you get some of those yellowy orangey hues, and I don't know if it makes sense to describe smell in terms of color, but
no, it definitely does.
That's what I get from it. And
there's a psychology with smell and color.
Really? Okay, well that lives up to the name then.
So this one is a very warm and kind of sweet fragrance, and that kind of, the sunset, the sand, it kind of reminds me of that. So the person who created this fragrance is Benoit Laposa, but this person actually created the fragrance that this is basically copying. So there's a fragrance called by Killian's Angel Share, and he wanted to, I guess, make something very similar at an affordable price point. So this one, if I'm gonna spray the opening too on that.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Because a lot of these are very linear, or some of them are, but I think this one is also really nice in the opening. So check this one out.
Wow, yeah, okay, the sweetness comes out more in the opening, and it's...
Whoa, I'm like, I have this whole cloud right here. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh man, might need a little breather. But, yeah, that is a unique scent. I love that though, actually. It's almost like take that desert imagery, but put like a single flower in the desert, and like that flower is what you smell in the opening. It's like a rose in the desert at sunset. That's the image right there that I get. Despite this not being my usual type or like my usual favorite, I kind of have to give it a 9, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, it just gives such a unique vibe. I just really like the scent and the feelings that it evokes.
That's basically what you want when you create a fragrance, right?
Yeah.
Have that emotional and psychological connection.
Absolutely.
You can get it for about $30 to $40.
That's not bad.
So a 9 out of 10 for Sand Desert at Sunset. All right, next up we have a very green one. The cool green bottle.
Yeah, I'm liking that shade of green, so I have good feelings about this.
So this one is also from Emir, and this is Emir's Vertex.
Oh, this is an interesting one. I want to say it's got some kind of almost like leafy scent. I don't want to say that just because it's green, but I'm definitely picking up on like some kind of like rosemary or like pine needles.
So this one definitely has that kind of piney quality. I believe there's spruce in here. So it's a little bit smoky, a little bit woody, but take a sniff on the cap a little bit. That kind of has the opening in there.
Like the foliage, you know, like the leaves, that kind of comes out more with the opener there.
I think the bottle definitely captures that vibe of the fragrance. It's kind of a dark, kind of green, secluded floral flower bed type things.
But yeah, it's kind of like stumbling on a little secluded grove out in the woods or something. I could kind of see it going spring or fall, but like not like the summer or winter, not the extremes, but like those in between kind of like more mild seasons. I do really like it, but it's not the most standout of the night to me. So it's going to be another like 7.75.
7.75, that's fair. So a lot of people online have said that they don't like the opening and
really?
they like the dry down the best. So they're like, wait it out. Some people are impatient. They don't want to smell the opening.
Interesting. I think that the opening adds a little something to it. I enjoyed that, but yeah, it's not for everybody.
So this one you can get for about, I want to say $35 or $40. You can get it on Amazon, and that one is Emir's Vertex. All right, our 9th fragrance of the night. Check this one out. This one is Lattafa's Nashama Caprice.
Okay. It's definitely on the more subtle side. I want to say it's a little bit on the woodier side, and it's got some of those sweet notes in there, but it's not like too pronounced. It all kind of like blends together.
So that was the dry down. Let's check out the opening and see if you like this any better.
Okay, the opening definitely smells a little bit brighter, so it's got a little bit more going on with it. It really didn't jump out, especially compared to some of these other ones where you have these really unique notes, or at least again for a beginner who's pretty new to all of this. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't the most attention grabbing. And I mean, maybe there are situations where you don't want to grab too much attention.
So yeah, this one has a bit of cardamom in there. And for me personally, when I smell cardamom, I think of almost like an oatmeal cookie. So it's a little bit spicy. It's got a little bit of a cinnamon-like twist to it.
Yeah, I can see that now that you've mentioned it, but it just didn't like jump out at me really.
So this is actually a clone of an Yves Saint Laurent fragrance. It's called Blue Electrique, and that one was sadly discontinued for some reason. I don't know if it was sales or if there were just too many versions that they had out at the time, but they decided to pull it, and it was one of the most hard to find fragrances for a while, and people were going crazy because they loved it.
Interesting, because to me, I would actually probably have to give it the most harsh rating of the night so far.
Okay.
To me, it's a 6, just because it's not bad by any means, but just compared to all of these other unique, like really unique ones, I still think it's going to be my lowest rated one so far. But it's not a bad one. I've kind of bumped it up from a 6 to like a 6.25, let's say.
6.25.
Yeah.
Okay, got a quarter of one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so 6.25, and that one's Lattafa Nashama Caprice. Last up, our final fragrance.
That's another one that's on the subtler side, and it's not the most like heavy-handed, but it's still pretty unique, I would say.
So this fragrance is actually from the house of Nabeel, and Nabeel also owns an extremely expensive niche fragrance house called the Spirit of Dubai. So a lot of their fragrances are about $300 to $400. So they have a ton of different oils, notes, and things that they put in their fragrances. Sometimes like 20 different notes. So they have a lot of material. And the cool thing about having all of those materials is they also have a more affordable version and line of their fragrances. So they have the same materials, but they just do it a little bit cheaper. So this one is called Black Sand.
I wouldn't say sand sprung to mind. I got more, it's sweet, but it's almost, I don't know if musky is the right word.
No, it's definitely musky.
Yeah, I got a musky scent from it.
That's a great way to describe it. And then this is also the opening.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a very unique one. It's something almost like a little, I almost want to say smokier.
It's very smoky.
Yeah.
You're right. So that one, it has, for me personally, I get a lot of incense out of that one.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of if you're going antiquing or if you go somewhere, it kind of just smells like old wood and like old antiques.
Right.
But in a cool way.
I definitely think of it suiting a like slightly older audience. It's harder to see like, you know, a more like, you know, young person going around in it, but it's still a very good one though. And I could definitely see it appealing to sort of an older generation.
This one's got a lot of Middle Eastern notes that are in a lot of the Middle Eastern fragrances. So this one has a lot of rose. It's got some oud. When you said an older gentleman and I was talking about like antiques, I kind of pictured Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
I could imagine him wearing something like that.
Yeah, if you were to like match a scent to a character, like that's a really good match. My personal rating, like how likely would I be to wear it? It's gonna be a little bit lower, just because I guess I'm just not the right like audience for it, but I'm not trying to put it down at all. I think there's definitely appeal. It's gonna be probably at a 6 again.
I think that one's also one of the most strong out of all of these, and it could be your nose just kind of
it could
kind of being tired, but that one, it goes so hard for the first like 4 hours that you spray it. That one, I've sprayed it on myself in the morning and I still smell like it when I come home from work. You rated it 6, and that one is for Nabeel's Black Sand. Your number one choice obviously was the Zara, and that one was the Sand Desert at Sunset.
So this one, it just has such strong like just imagery to it, like through the smell, and I think this is the best for the right occasion, but it's definitely not something you'd want to wear just all the time. You want to save it for, you know, when it counts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I think you could just, this would be my favorite to wear just generally, just like wear around when the, you know, when the season is right. It's just a really good, pleasant, everyday kind of scent. But yeah, this one's like just so good, but you want to save it. Yeah, so this Eternal Oud one, it's very similar to the Black Insenso, but they rated right next to each other for a reason. You can't go wrong with either one.
All of these are under $50.
Go get either the Black Insenso, or if you really want to leave an impression, the Sand Desert at Sunset.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Francesco, for coming on the channel and for sharing your thoughts. So hopefully if you see any of these out there, or if you're looking for an affordable fragrance that's going to last a really long time, maybe you'll check these out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Eli with Common Sense.
And I'm Francesco, and thank you so much for having me on.
We'll see you guys next time. Yeah. The helicopter.
Yep.
The one time that I did try to record a video outside though was absolute hell. Airplanes taking off, and then when those finally subsided, my neighbors decided to mow the lawn.
No.